So you're watching Universal Groove. I got Adrian Carmine here in the house. Really excited to talk to him here, man. It's like I've come across his music, and it was something that was presented to me by Calderon Soul. And he approached me about it and said, hey, man, you got to check out this guy, Adrian Carmine. He just got like a different style. He did like a cover. Adrian did a cover of, I think it's like the Jackson 5. Well, you tell me about the story, how that came about and that particular song.
Never Can Say Goodbye, Jackson 5. Michael Jackson was probably one of the first entertainers that I ever got into. I mean, it was like the late 80s. You know, he was on top of the world. Thriller was everything, Bad, even Dangerous, Off the Wall. Later on, when I got into that was, oh my God, you know, just the music. It was the soundtrack to my life. And I just got so into it. I used to dance and pretend I was Michael Jackson. I would have Thanksgiving performances for my family. I got this like VHS tape because before DVDs we used to watch VHS. That's what it was called, kids. And it was Michael Jackson's basically entire story from Motown to whatever year that came out, like 1989 or something, 90. But yeah, I got into the Jackson 5 because I was, you know, a huge Michael Jackson fan. And that video, I forgot what it was called, but yeah, I would watch it religiously, like every single day. And just, it was narrated by James Earl Jones. So Michael Jackson, meeting Michael Jackson. Yeah, it was dope. It was, like, I loved his like Ed Sullivan performance. Like, I think that was the Jackson 5's debut, where he sang "Who's Loving You." And yeah, so I just loved that music. So from like day one, you know, I was 2 years old when I got into it, but yeah, I just loved, like, Jackson 5 is like that's why I do music. So I felt it was natural after I released my first song to, like, I felt like doing a cover. I was like, well, what should I do? I don't know. So like, it didn't take too long before I said maybe a Jackson 5 song, you know, because I'm doing soul music, and Motown originated from soul, you know, jazz, R&B. So naturally, I did Never Can Say Goodbye because I just love the chord progression and the song.
Yeah, it's a really cool song. The original's cool, but the way you do it, it's just so different. It's like a different vibe. And it's like, I feel like it's like the other side of that song, you know, like the way you do it is just a particular way. So if you haven't heard that song, definitely go check it out. It's just the way that you do it is really beautiful. I want to talk about the EP that's out, kind of kick it off with that. And, you know, these songs on here are so cool. Can you talk about some of the EP itself, putting that together, and how you're putting it together, and what, you know, maybe what programs you're using to put this together? I think that's really important for maybe people to know, like, how you're doing this.
Definitely, I want to know that kind of stuff too. But okay, so the year is 2020. We are locked down. We cannot go to work. We cannot go to school. We can't do anything. We're home. We're stuck. We can't go out to eat. Nothing, you know. I've been in music, I mean, like 20 years now, right? So, and I was also a working individual, working class, whatever. So this actually was probably the best thing that could have happened, because it forced me to become that full-time musician that I always wanted to be. And so I got 2 releases out. I'm like, let's do an EP. It's only natural, you know, that we do that next, and then we'll do an LP and whatever. And so I had the song "Please Don't Go" was released, and it was gaining traction. A lot of people were, it was well received, and I was super grateful and appreciative, and like, hell yeah, they're liking it, you know, because there was a time, you know, I wrote soul music like probably 10 years ago, and showed it to my friends, and they're like, you know, they weren't into it. So what can you do, you know? Well, whatever, I'll just roll with the punches on whatever these guys want to do. And this year, like 2018, 2019, people are starting to do it. I'm like, oh shit, yeah. And I don't think I would have done it without the lockdown because, you know, like again, it literally forced me to become a full-time musician. I would wake up, have my morning coffee, and just go into my studio, which is in my house, luckily. And from there, I just started penning some songs, and one thing led to another, and there was 4 songs with a little harmonic intro, and voila, the EP, the Adrian Carmine EP.
That's so cool, man. And, you know, I think a lot of people with this year, even for myself, you know, doing like the interviews and stuff, I've kind of looked at things a different way. And you putting together that album under like these circumstances, that's freaking, man, that's really cool that you've done that. And I think a lot of people, although they may not know about it, I know you have a pretty good following as far as like on YouTube. A lot of people are listening to your stuff. I want to see that transition for you to kind of give you more love, man, because these songs are like really cool. And we kind of talked about it, you know, before we started recording is, you know, I feel like your vibe is completely like it's soul, but it's like a different vibe. It's like smooth. It's like chill. Like you can just like vibe out to it. It's not like just so straightforward. It's really raw. And I love that about that, you know, about what you do there. So can you kind of explain like your style a little bit, like where you get that from?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I think it's just raw emotion, you know. It comes from a place of legitimate life experience, heartbreak, love, laughter, happiness. And it just, I mean, you know, I'm not a good faker, so if I try to do something like, I don't know, something I wasn't feeling, I don't think you would believe me, and I don't think I would even, you know, I wouldn't even believe it to back it myself. So I feel like it just comes from just being a human being. Just we can all relate in the sense of all the, you know, all the human emotions, experiences, and everything. So I think that's one of the big reasons that people are connecting.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely connecting on what you're doing. It's like so cool. And then another thing that I seen early on was your cover of your record. It was yourself as a kid singing, which I was like, seriously, like I was praying. I'm like, man, I hope this is him, man. I hope it ain't just some neighbor kid. Like I really hope this is him singing like on that cover. So can you tell the people a little bit about that cover and just kind of the backstory of, you know, maybe you singing at some of these parties?
Definitely. Yes, that is me, 100%. That's one of our many, you know, Mexican party gatherings. We had a mariachi over, and I was performing the song Por Tu Maldito Amor by Vicente Fernandez. And I was saying, because my dad's a musician, he plays guitar. That's a big part of where I got it from. He used to play and I used to perform. I remember when that song dropped, it was everything to everyone, and I memorized it. I had the little cassette. I would just rewind it and play it again and sing along, rewind, play till it just erased. But yeah, so this is a party I was singing at, and I used to sing it as a young child, you know, with no problem. But when I hit like 9 or 10 years old, I would start crying when I sang it. And that's the picture. I'm in like mid-cry singing it, belting it out, but getting through it. And just seeing the reactions, you know, then these grown-ups start crying too. They're just watching it and like they're just taking it all in and throwing dollars. And yeah, so that picture is, because the song is called Too Early for a Love Song, right? So it was only fitting that I used that picture of being a kid. You know, like, what do you know about love? You know, you're a kid. So I was just like a natural, like, oh, of course I'm gonna pick this photo. So that's how that came to be the cover for the single.
That is like seriously like the best cover I've seen in a long time. I think there's like one cover that I could almost compare that to, and it's like the Libertines. Like I don't know if you've ever seen that cover, but that cover was like really like, wow, like that's just a weird, cool cover. But that picture of you is just like so fucking, you can just see the emotion, like, you know what I mean? It just brings like those songs too. It like, it all, when I listen to the song and I'm looking at your the cover, I'm like, fuck yeah, like this is emotional shit, you know, this is really good stuff, and it just brings it to life. And that's what I really love about, you know, rock and music, is like the art behind the music. I always feel that that's like really big to me. Like when I'm listening to the band and I can look at the album, look at, you know, what the artwork that they did for this particular album, it just kind of all ties in. It brings me to that place when I'm listening to it. And that picture just really brings me like right back to like, wow, this is some emotional stuff. And it's so good, man. So you mentioned that your father was a guitar player. Now, was he in bands growing up, or did he just kind of do it on his own and show you how to play? How did that kind of come about?
Yes, my dad was he's still to this day one of the best singers I know. He didn't have a band, but he did play with like him and another guy. Like, say he was playing acoustic guitar, he had a pianist, right? And he was a working musician performing, the Sunset Strip and restaurants, El Compadre on Sunset, and he would play. Well, he was also a full-time union carpenter, which he would later get me into as well. And like, no, anytime he was home, he had the like video recorder on, playing songs, letting me play with the guitar or the piano at home, and big influence on why I'm a musician. I don't think he was a big, like, it's the reason. I mean, like, I asked him to teach me guitar when I was like 8 years old, and he didn't want to. He's like, you're not gonna be into it. I'm gonna try, and you're like gonna just put it down and forget about it. You need more time. Which I think he was right. But then I asked again when I was 13 years old, and then he started showing me my first few chords. And from there, I just took, I took off with flying colors. Anything I could learn. Pre-YouTube era, where you just kind of had to sound it out, because I'm not musically trained either. So it was all like, put your finger here, let's see if this sounds right, or whatever, and whatnot. So yeah, he and my mom, she was a folklorico dancer, and that's how they met. And she sang too. They used to sing together. There's old family videos of them singing at parties and harmonizing beautifully, singing rancheras or boleros or whatever, So all that, I just like sucked it in like a sponge, and just grew up with all that music.
That's really cool, man. That's really, I could just picture it in my head, like them just jamming out together. And like when I hear that, it's like, man, that's fucking love. You know what I mean? Like, it's like what other beauty is there? Like, your wife is singing with you. Like, that's just fucking beautiful, man. That's awesome. So seeing that as a kid, you're like, hey, this is what I want to do. Is that basically where we're at, obviously, now?
Basically, yes, because I never really stopped. I mean, there's not very many days that go by where I'm not singing or playing my guitar or playing piano or anything, and just creating. So I've always been a very creative spirit, and I owe a lot of that to them. And then a lot to my older sisters, who got me into, classic rock, heavy metal, the usual suspects, bands like Led Zeppelin, the Beatles. I remember they went to the Kiss concert when they reunited, and I saw the program that they brought home. I'd never seen anything like it. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, oh man. And it's another big part of my upbringing in music, because like they're about 15 years older than I am, 15, something like that. But yeah, they would drive me around, and blasting all their classic rock, KLOS, Arrow 93.1, and all the classic rock stations. So like anytime anytime those songs come on, I'm constantly reminded of where I came from, and just those drives in the back seat. So yeah, started playing guitar at 13, and it's been ever since then.
Yeah, that classic rock, I love classic rock. I grew up on classic rock. My father was the same thing. Like, he was a big, my dad is like, he's a hippie, bro. Like, he's a big time hippie. My mom is too. Like, they're always playing music at the house. They're always playing classic rock, like Rod Stewart, freaking Led Zeppelin, The Doors, Hendrix. Like, they were always playing that stuff around me. And as a kid, I just would always just kind of trip out, like, wow, like this is really interesting music. And then as a kid, growing up, I was into like the hip hop. I was into like the rap that was coming out. And then one day, just kind of, I seen Rage Against the Machine. That changed my life. This guy I had a friend that I worked with. He had bring a VHS tape that no kids know about. He popped that thing in, and just seeing the hip hop and the rock, it just changed my life. Like, I wanted to be on stage. So for you now, you mentioned that you were in bands before. When did you start doing the band stuff, like full time, and how did that start? As far as like, did you maybe put out an ad? Did you have maybe friends in high school that you started doing that with?
For me, I'd say it would have had to start in maybe elementary school. Not so much in getting into the music, but actually meeting the friends that I would actually continue on with and then finally get into music with. I mean, because before we could play, well, first off, this is what happened. Um, I was gonna join the school band in elementary school as a trumpet player, and I got to like the first class or whatever to start learning how to play trumpet, and one of the valves is broken on my trumpeter, and the teacher's like, you gotta have this fixed. I'm like, okay. Like I go home and show my parents, this has to be fixed, it's broken. They weren't having it. Typical like Mexican parents, like, that's all right, you just join the choir or something. So I auditioned for the choir too, and I got in. So I did that. I wish my trumpet worked, because now I'd be tracking my own trumpets and whatever, but that's how the cookie crumbled for me. But yeah, so I had friends in elementary school, and that was around the time where like Rage Against the Machine, Korn, bands like we were already, thanks to my sisters, I was showing my friends Led Zeppelin, Kiss, and the Beatles, and we would pretend to perform in the backyard of like one of my friends' house, and we would just be going crazy, like headbanging and moshing, and it was funny. I could imagine the parents like looking at us in the backyard, like we weren't like playing sports, or we're just just picture like the kids going like to like the radio blasting, and those were good times. But so yeah, I finally started learning guitar at like 13, and I think it took like a good 2 years before I could really be somewhat proficient in like getting a tune out. So I would say like by 15, what is that, like freshman year, I started getting with the high school kids, and we got into backyard wrestling and metal music. So we would like have backyard wrestling events, and sometimes like play like sometimes both at the same time, and it was just crazy. But like K-Rock got me like heavy into like all the stuff that was coming out in the early 2000s, and so like high school bands, backyard shows. I remember doing a recording of our first band, and we recorded it in my bedroom on a computer. One take each song, and that's it. It was ready. And we had a printer, and we printed out like our own CDs. And we literally the next day at school, we were selling them. We were like, just like, who wants to buy some? And like nobody was doing that yet. We were like 15 years old. People were barely learning how to, if they were in band or whatever. But yeah, I think we slanged like $70 worth of CDs in one day, and we sold them out. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. What else? So yeah, it was a lot of it started in high school.
So the crazy thing about that time with the rock and the metal going on, and I remember, and I'm pretty sure you remember back in that day when, you had to go to the record store and buy the actual CD.
Yes.
You had to like really put your mind and efforts to like, okay, I'm going to buy this record because there's like 3 bangers on this record, and I'm going to spend my hard cold cash to go get this record. And that was my rule. I had a personal rule. Like I had to like go to a friend's house, sit down, listen to the CD. If it had like 3, at least 2, but if it had 3 bangers, I'm going to go, get my money, save up my pesos, and go to the freaking Tower Records and buy this record. But around that time, when you're talking about burning CDs, that was like, my friend had a CD burner. And so when that happened, it like changed my life, because I was hitting up all my friends like, hey, we're going to go have a burn fest at my buddy Jeff's house, and we're going to like get all our records and put them together and make, hey, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. Yeah. It just changed life. So when you said that you were burning CDs and selling them at the high school, was there like a major buzz after that for you guys? Like, all right, we're gonna, because I mean, you're kids, everyone wants to rage, everyone wants to drink. everyone wants to smoke, weed at that time. So were you guys like the highlights of the high school or what?
For a time, I think we were. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but yeah, I mean, people like, that's the thing about music, is it unites people. It really, you can't unless you're like the ultimate hater, you can't like feel ill will towards somebody like pursuing music. It's like, all right, right on, okay, cool. So yeah, they did. People started saying, let's do backyard shows, and like we start, like I said, we had that backyard wrestling, backyard shows, destroying our friends' parents' backyards, and the grass would turn into dirt, and and yeah, we were on a good one. We would, my house was the rehearsal house, so after school every single day, Monday through Friday, we would go to my house after, like, and write. We would write. That was the thing. Well, we played a lot of covers at first, whatever we were into, but then we're like, let's write our own songs, and because that would make us even cooler, like everyone else is now. People like other kids are starting to come out like playing, but they're playing covers. So like we're like, let's play originals, and so yeah, we were improving songwriting skills. Then we actually got into like this is now like, say like junior year, we were getting into the Inland Empire hardcore scene. So we started getting into like slam dancing and two-stepping or whatever, and just like our musical taste started evolving, and we started getting into like progressive metal, thrash metal, deathcore, whatever. And so, but I was always the singer in the bands. If the song ever calmed down, they would have me like, okay, Adrian, let's have a singing part right here. So I was always the singer in anything we did, even though we were like doing really heavy music. I was still into like alternative, bands like Incubus, At the Drive-In, eventually Mars Volta. But also, I mean, my taste is like everywhere. Like, I mean, what Chicano isn't? I remember in freshman year, I was really cool with the seniors, like the rockabilly seniors, and they would sneak me out at lunch, and because they had the lunch pass, right? Because they were seniors, they would throw me in the trunk and blast like Richard Blade, Flashback Lunch, having like the Smiths' Big Mouth Strikes Again blasting, and how you're in the trunk and that's where the speakers are, just blasting. It was like, oh shit, this is dope. And then like they would end up taking me to the record store in Uptown Whittier to get, they sell band tees and all the records. It's like, and I bought the Smiths, the singles, and never stopped listening to it to this day. So got into new wave naturally, Depeche Mode. But yeah, high school there was like a huge part of it was like heavy music, but I would never like stray from melodic music, singing music, soul music, and obviously partying with my parents with their parties, Spanish music. Relatives would always want to hear it, like, hey, cántame una de whoever, Jose Alfredo Jimenez or whatever. So yeah, high school was a trip, but it really introduced me to playing live, playing with others, and kind of just honing my craft.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. And that's a good story about the Smiths. Like, so the first time I ever heard the Smiths, I was like, it was a friend of mine. She had like the single CD. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was really into metal, man. I was like, like you said, Korn, The Rage, Soulfly, Cold Chamber, freaking all that stuff, man. And I was just like deep into it, right? At the drive-in,
yeah,
all those bands. And I remember she played it for me, and I'm like, what the hell is this crap? Like, what is this crap? Like, it's just like, I don't know. And like now, like I let it go, and then I listened back to it maybe like years later, and I was like, this shit is so fucking good, man. Like, the way, Morrissey just sings it, and the guitar and the acoustic, the way they mix the acoustic and the electric guitar together,
yeah,
is like, whoa. Like, what do you like about the Smiths? What grabs your attention when you listen to that band?
A man with feelings which in Latino Hispanic culture is like very, very much hidden. You know, you don't like to show it, but this dude here is like laying it all out on the table. That's first and foremost. And just the music, like it was real instruments. A lot of new wave used, you know, electronic, digital, computers, synthesizers, but they were actually playing, you know, real instruments, which is the second most thing that I really loved about the Smiths. And just, yeah, I loved the way he sang and the way he wrote.
Yeah, just listening to that band over the years, like I just recently bought actually the you know, the vinyl of them. They're so expensive, man. It was like I went to a record shop and I was like, hey, you guys got any Smiths, by the way? I was like checking out. He's like, okay, you guys got any Smiths? He's like, dude, I don't even want to sell it to you. It's so fucking expensive and like, fuck you. I was like, all right. So, but yeah, I mean, those records are so classic, like all of them. But I could see that with your music, like, you know, a lot of the stuff you have is really emotional. Like I could, like, it's like when I listen to your stuff, again, it takes me to like another place, and it's like a real dreamy music that you got. How are you recording these songs? Are you doing it on a laptop? How are you doing it?
Yeah, this was all done on my desktop. Basic condenser mic, plugging with some guitar preamps, bass preamps. I'm looking at my studio right now. Yeah, that was basically it. I have a drum set here usually behind me that I moved, but yeah, I'll start tracking drums and bass, get a nice little rhythm going. I'll write on the guitar or the piano. I'll start writing things down, writing songs, chords down, and then right away, like that's the nice thing. I could just start putting it on, just recording and kind of just tweaking it till I think it's the best that I could possibly make it.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about just our day back in the day, like, you know, early 2000s. I mean, I remember being in a band, and, you know, the big thing is you had to have a demo, right? Like, you had to have a demo, give people an idea of what you're doing, but that demo could cost you thousands, hundreds, like, of dollars, and then you'd have to go to the right place. I know there was a place called, I think, like Love Juice in like Riverside. I don't know if you remember those guys, but I remember it had like, you know, friends that would go there, and it was just like the guy just, I guess, threw a mic and go fuck yourself, like, all right, pay me and jam out, you know. And that it was like kind of 50-50, you know. Sometimes depending on what type of music you played, you know, it might sound okay, but it just didn't hit. Now technology has completely changed. You know, you could take your time, you could re-edit these songs over and over and over. How long does it take to put together a song the way that you're doing it? Do you take your time? Is it just like bam, 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 I'm doing like in a day? Like, how long does it roughly take you to put the song together?
I do like to work fast. So the initial songwriting and recording is probably like within 2 hours. And then I will start tweaking it for like a week and so on until I'm gonna release it. I'll always go back and be like, you know what, I think I could fix this here and there. Oh, I could have sang that better. And so I like to have a blueprint, you know, right away, and then kind of just tweak it from there, and then just make it perfect, or as perfect as I could humanly possibly get it till I can release it. So yeah, I'm pretty fast at working.
And I kind of dabbled with some of those programs that are available out there. I mean, even like, you know, GarageBand, you know, some of the simpler programs, you know, Fruity Loops, all those programs. You can just dive like as deep as you want to in instruments. Is that something that you maybe want to do one day? Just add like a bunch of instruments, horns, you know, all that stuff? Or is that just kind of like, I kind of want to stay away from that. I want the raw sound.
Definitely, there's nothing like something being played by a real person with a real instrument. That's my preference. It will always be my preference. Yeah, there's a lot you can do. I mean, those are such good tools for demoing things and getting your ideas out to whoever you're showing the song or the project to, whatever. It's like, it's a great thing to have to show, you know, what's in your head, but that you can actually have audible to somebody. And then they'll be like, okay, and then they'll start playing it, you know. I've gone so far as to like, I've shown horn players on my songs. Like, I literally sang the horn parts in the recording and sent them over. And, you know, as I want to get it as horn as possible, for lack of a better word. But yeah, just like perfectly do the pitch perfect, you know, zero vibration to just make it sound like a horn, you know. It's like, this is my idea. So like, I do dabble with using like the depth in the tools that you have, but I will, yeah, like I said, the real, I mean, I'm trying to get a tape machine, I'm trying to get a mixer and just a real piano if I can fit it wherever. I don't know, I might have to move to an actual location to start doing work, but yeah, I'll always love the real sound of the real thing.
Yeah, there's nothing like the real thing for sure. But that's cool that you could utilize those tools and relay it over to, you know, the people that can help you perform it. How many instruments do you currently know and play right now?
I can play guitar, bass, drums. I wish I was better at piano, but I dabble with piano, and something like the recorder or something that's easy I could figure out. You know, I'll that'll be like the second tier of things that I could, if I could just kind of pick it up. If it's too hard, like trumpet, I don't know, I start getting a headache, and yeah, I'll leave that to someone more proficient. But that's about it. You know, the usual suspects, you know. And then I like singing a lot, so.
Yeah, and I think you're a really good singer, man. Like you have like this really high like octave voice. It's like so cool, like to hear. And I've seen some of the recordings that you've done like on Instagram and everything, and it's just like, wow, like this guy really belts it out. It's really cool to see that. Can you talk about a little bit like performing? Like it sounds like you've been performing for a long time, all through the years, but what's that excitement of performing? What rush do you get, or what do you feel when you're performing?
What do I feel? Anxiety, depression. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, yeah, you do get anxious before you hit the stage. You're like, you just want to get there. It's not a bad anxious at all, by any means, but it's like, come on, let's go. Are we ready? Are we going? It's like you kind of have to keep yourself occupied before you actually hit the stage and do stuff, which is nice about a band because you can always riff off each other. But once you hit it, I mean, up to the moment, even walking on, it's like, it's a little scary. But once the song starts and people are into it, all right, you're like, okay, let's get it. And it starts like, it's like a ping pong match now. Like we come on, you get so excited, you give us this excitement, we throw it right back at you. You give us more, you're gonna get more. You give us more, we're gonna jump on top of you, whatever. It's gonna get crazier and crazier until it's over. And it's just, it's thrilling. It's making people happy. It's like they've waited however long, whenever they hear of a show and buy tickets to the show and they go to the show and the night's finally here. They've been waiting for that, and like when they finally get it, it's like it's like huge relief and like excitement. It's so many emotions in one, and that's what I like giving people. I think bottom line is you get to bring out the best in someone, like when in anyone you meet, that's liking what you're doing, that's like what you're creating, that's like what you're drawing, what you're painting, whatever. You literally made the person like the best they could ever be, like in the best mood they could ever be in. And that's what I want to keep doing. And that's my big thing.
You reminded me of a time I went to this show, and this could be a little bit long-winded, but I just had to get this out. Like, you just brought something up. So I went to this show as a kid. I was probably like 17, 18 years old. One of my friends' dads was like into punk. He was like a big punk guy. And I don't know if you know this band called Agent Orange.
Yeah.
So he goes, man, you gotta check out this band, Agent Orange, man. They're like playing at this bar. You guys are a bunch of pussies, man. You guys listen to like some corn crap, man. That's just crap, Like, these guys are for real. These guys are OGs. I was like, all right, whatever, we'll roll. So he takes us out. We get there. We get to the bar. And the moment I walk in, the singer is like a Mexican dude. And he's like, you know what, man, we're all born equal. We're born, we are raised we are what we are, And I'm like sitting there like, what's this guy talking about? Like, I'm just getting my waters and my sodas and crap. Anyways, two Nazis walked to the stage, and they were like, there was a stage, and they were like eye level with this guy. And he's like, dude, middle of the song, he stops, he goes, hey man, I know you guys gonna beat my ass. And they just did. Boom. Everyone just rushed to the stage, kicked the whole band's ass. The whole bar is like fighting, right? Agent Orange is like banging chicks in the back. Like, they're banging chicks on their tour bus, right? So the whole bar is destroyed. We're about to walk out. They're like, Agent Orange is still gonna play. I go, no fucking way these guys come out and play. They come out, they like walk in, right? We go back to our table. These dudes walk in, they got girls on their arms, bro, these guys. And they're like looking at the bar, it's totally destroyed. Everyone's pissed off. And they get on stage, plug in their stuff. Everyone's like kind of cleaning up the glass and all this from what happened, all the mayhem that happened. These fucking band just like bleeding, walking out of the bar. Dude, these guys hit the first note, fucking bam. Everyone just went crazy, bro. Like you said, that music just does something to somebody, that performance. It brings like, dude, that whole crowd, bleeding and everything. Everyone's like, yeah, like hell yeah. So I love that about music, is that it could change your mood from like good to bad. I mean, it could bring you down. It could bring you up. When you release a song and you see people starting to like it and buying into what you're putting out there, What's that feeling like? Because you're putting your, it's like, people don't really think about it. When they bash you like online or something, like, oh, that song sucks or that band sucks. It's like, man, they put like some, blood, sweat, and tears into these songs. What does it feel like when you do release a song and you start seeing the likes, you start seeing people, listen to it? What's going through your mind, or what are you hoping? What are you feeling as that's being released?
The most amazing like amount of gratitude, because it could have gone very differently. They could have been like, oh, this is shit, what are you doing, and that would just be a total like, oh, downer. What am I doing this for then? But there's always going to be haters, but when somebody likes it, like, that's who you're doing it for. And that's literally what I feel like when somebody tells me like the sweetest thing. There's a lot of people saying good things, and I don't tell them personally, but I do tell myself, like, you're who I'm doing it for. That's why I'm doing it, and I will continue to do it as long as you'll have me. Kumbaya, my love. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my love. Kumbyala. You know what? Let's go over here for me. Good evening.
you've been working with some of like the really big artists right now that are really popping. How did you get in touch with Trish Toledo? Can you tell us that story?
Definitely. I did a short little cover video of her song "Do You Love" on Instagram, and I tagged her on it when I did it, and she said that nobody had ever done, like, a guy has never done, you know, their version. It's always been, I guess it was always girls or whatever, but she actually reposted it, and I was like, oh shit, you know, because I had been following her for a while, you know, since her EPs came out. So I was tripping out. I was like, oh shit, she reposted it. She posted it in black and white. And I was like, dope. And like instantly, like 75 new followers, you know, they're like, yeah, like to this day, just thinking about it makes me like speechless. But that's actually how we started working together after that. She posted that video, and Joey Quinones, he liked it a lot, and he actually started hitting me up too to come work in the studio when Trish was going. And I was there for the only one, the session. I worked, I don't know if I made the actual recording, but I did demo the song on guitar. But yeah, ever since then, she started inviting me over to the house, and I penned some songs for her, and I showed them to her, and she really dug them, and now she'll be releasing one in February.
So when Joey gives, obviously Joey from the Sinceres is really doing it, man. Like, he's doing it on a big level. He's working with everybody. He's writing everybody's songs, and every song that he comes up with is like gold. He's kind of like that. I kind of mentioned it in Mariah's video because she works with him. He's like, to me, like the Berry Gordy, like, you know what I mean? Like, he kind of like, it has his hands in everybody's kind of stuff. And it's like, you go to this guy, he's like the Dr. Dre of today. Like, you go to this guy, you want the hits, you go to Dr. Dre, and now you go to him. If you want the soul hit, he's the guy. And I think you're definitely going to be on that train too, because the songs that you have that you're putting together are really good. And I could see that you could be definitely that next guy to take an artist or even yourself to that next level. But how does that happen? Does he hit you up like, hey man, come to the studio? Or you like writing him like, hey, can I come? Like, how does that work out? How did that go about?
Well, that's the beauty of Instagram and social media, is he slid into my DMs and said, come work, Trish is coming over, let's do this. Or hey, we're working at Penrose, we're gonna do this song, we need a choir, we need like 11, we did like a song with 11 of us doing like choir harmonies and working into the wee hours of the night. And yeah, he'll hit me up, and yeah, I'm really grateful that I got to do that too, because that was an opportunity to meet a lot of the other people in that scene. Because like I said, 10 years ago, I showed my friends like two soul songs that I wrote, and they weren't having it, and like, okay, tucked them away. And when I started seeing all these young cats, I'm like, hell yeah, okay, it's time. And that's what did it. You know, that's another reason I went for the EP and start releasing things, because I now know people that are into it, that can, you know, play with me, play live, do sessions, whatever, you know. And now we're working together. I'm working with Sola. I've got a release coming with them in December, if all runs smoothly. I wrote songs for Nira, who's also going to be released on Sola. Jackie Mendez, she's got a song coming out on Sola. So yeah, and then I've got a song with Trish coming out on Mango Hill. So yeah, I'm lucky that there's like 100% more people willing, you know, that are actually into this music and are willing to work with me and work on it.
I want to go back to the pressure, man, because if that guy called me and said, hey man, we want you in on this session, were you like running around the block like butt naked, bro, like excited, or like what's going through your mind? Like, what? Because that guy, like I said, he's the man right now, and he's asking you to come down there and do your thing. Are you like, oh fuck, like, wow? That's like, to me, I'm not saying he's on Michael Jackson level, but that's like if Michael Jackson like hit me up like, hey man, I need you to like throw down on some drums or something. Like, what? So were you super nervous going into that studio, or just like, this is what I do?
Yes, I was. No, man, definitely. You know, I mean, I don't think to this day I could. I mean, I've gone to the shows. You know, he says hello and he's really nice, and I mean, taking you back to that particular time. Yeah, it is like I was nervous because, you know, oh shit, this guy's on the like Danny Trejo like CD, and he's working with Baby Bash. So I don't think to this day he's like I've really been myself with him. It's kind of been like, all right, mind your surroundings, see what he's doing here, what is he working on. Okay, that's how he does it, you know. We haven't gotten a chance to actually like sit down, and I haven't gotten the chance to show him how weird I really am. So yeah, it's always been like really kind of serious. I don't know, it's just because yeah, like you said, he's killing it, and he's doing great work, and just to be there I felt lucky, and so one day I hope, you know, let's just hang out and have a beer and show you what kind of a dork I am.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly would probably be the same, man. It's like you don't want to step on toes, you know what I mean? Like, and I've seen that guy, like me and Mariah had talked about it in our interview, is that this guy is like up like 24/7. He's like on it, he's on the piano, he's on the drums, he's singing, he's doing this, he's doing that. It's like, damn. And he's really putting it out there, like, and yeah, man, to be in that studio with that guy creating and being a part of that, I think that's really huge. So I want to go into that performance with Trish. She did a concert from home, and you were there, and that really opened my eyes to you even more, because again, I was already hearing the music, I was already getting into what the stuff that you were doing, and then the next thing is I see you with Trish playing guitar, and she gave you some time to do your thing. Can you go into how that happened and elaborate a little bit on just that performance?
Yeah, we were going to have a show in Commerce, like a drive-in show, that ended up getting canceled last second pretty much, and that was kind of a bummer. So she decided to still have a let's do a live stream, you know. Got the place decorated nicely, and yeah, she said, we're gonna, you guys down to do a live stream? And she asked, are you down to do some songs? And I was like, sure. And yeah, so I did 2 songs. She's really generous, you know, like she'll like, no matter how big she gets, she'll always support, and she'll tell like her audience, check this out, this is amazing. If she likes it, you know, check them out, check out Adrian Carmine's new song, Please Don't Go. Like, that was huge for me, because she's opened a lot of eyes to what I'm doing, and I'm forever grateful.
Yeah, and I got a chance to sit down and watch that live. It was so cool just to kind of see her do her thing, and it was like real, like intimate, you know, like it just was like her and you guys, and she had a couple backup singers there, and it just was cool to watch that. And I hope like you do something like that, maybe just yourself with the new songs that you have. Like, that would be super cool. Maybe have her do some backups or something like that. That'd be really sweet. Now Sola, let's talk about them. I think they're really changing the game. They're putting out some songs that are really like some deep classics that maybe just no one had even heard of, but they're really good songs. And I talked to Jackie in her interview, and she was talking how amazed she was on some of the tracks that you put together for her specific song. Talk about just putting those songs together for them. Are you doing it at home? Are you doing it in the studio? How are you putting those songs together for them?
Jackie's song was, I did everything here in my studio. All the instrumental was done here. And then we went over to the Sound Factory to track her vocals, which blew my mind, because it's basically where Mark Ronson works. And he did Lady Gaga's album there. And we used the same tape that she used, and that place was just beautiful. it was like a really great experience to get out, get out of this studio and just kind of see the real thing, and like and see like a Hammond organ in front of you, like in real life, or like just everything. I got to play his piano, and I saw his reverb unit is like the size of this room. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, we did her vocal, and her warm-up take was fire. So yeah, she did it in like 4 takes, and then she had the backup singers come, and they killed it, and they were done. We were in and out in like 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, which we kind of had to be too, because it's kind of expensive, but
yeah. And so you're in this big studio, and Mark Ronson, you guys doing major stuff, right? He's like top guy. Is it intimidating to get into that studio and do your thing, or you're just kind of like, yeah, it's just another day in the studio?
I've always been really good at that not letting situations get too big. I think I'm just lucky, because maybe if I sat down and actually forced myself to think about what is literally going on, then I'd freak out. But I'm very lucky that I could be in the moment and just be like, okay, cool, awesome, oh, this is dope, wow, all right, take 1, let's go, and just kind of do your thing.
is really doing it big. You know, it seems like I talked to those guys, and one thing that they had brought up is they're really excited that you're part of the team. You know, and I'm like, man, I'm about to interview that guy, and I'm really excited for this interview. And they were like, man, that guy's great. He's awesome. He's really put, you know, he really put it down with Jackie Mendez on the track. So they're excited about you. Talk about some of the releases that you may have with them on the solo record label.
Besides Jackie's release, well, I just produced the track, but I actually wrote a song for Nira. You Did Me Right. That one's gonna be coming up soon. Yeah, I wrote that song for her, and I've got my release, Listen to My Heart Speak. That's gonna be coming out in December with Please Don't Go as the B-side. So that's my first 45, which is crazy to me because in January I had like one release out, and what is it, like 11 months to the day, my first 45.
So how exciting is that? Because I could just tell you, you know, I hang around a lot of the soul scene, and these guys got these crazy 45s. They're like thousands of dollars, and they're like, you know, they got their golden box over there, and you know, you're releasing these records. Those people are super loyal to, you know, the soul, right? So how excited are you, you know, to see that thing maybe jump off the shelves when you release it to these rabid fans of the soul scene?
I'm trying to keep like a modest approach, and you know, if I sell one, I'm happy. But the way that it's been going, like you said, Sola is doing amazing, and people are just eating those records up. So, I mean, if you like what you hear, you know, give the record a shot. If you like it, I'm happy. So, but yeah, if it does sell out, I'm probably gonna faint or, you know, just freak out. But I definitely look forward to seeing the outcome, because I do feel it's gonna be good.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for you. I'm really happy that we got a chance to just sit down and talk, man. Like I said, I'm a big fan of you, from Calderon Soul, putting me on to your music, and then kind of seeing you do your thing, seeing you do the Instagram stuff. Now we're going to be putting out a 45, working with Sola as a producer, working with Trish Toledo, Joy from the Sinceres. Like, damn, man, like you're taking off, man. And I'm hoping that I can help you get some more eyes onto what you do. But I really appreciate you sitting down, taking the time, you know, for a little channel like mine, Universal Groove. Really love what you do. So yeah, man, thank you. You want to shout out anybody at all?
Shout outs. Hi Mom. Hi Dad. Hi Tara. Hi Melissa. Hi everyone. I'm gonna go on forever. Yeah. Just want to say thank you for having me, and I had a really good time. Yeah.
This is for Juggalos and Juggalettes. Do not turn us at home, and I hope you like it. Whoop whoop! Fuck this shit!
You're right. I can't. Really appreciate.
Dreams are meant to be exactly what they are. A dream, reality. It's custom-made clothes, limousines, beautiful women, wild bodies, and profiles.
I believe that sort of something really funky radio stuff.
Have my mark.
We got a lot of problems here in America and Canada. A lot of traitors, man. We got a lot of people right now in our nation's capital selling us out, man, for diamonds, money, gold, jealousy, or greed. They're selling human lives out for money.
Is a hurricane blowing?
You gotta be
Not a speck of light is showing, so the danger
a
must be
champion.
growing.
You gotta
Are
have
the
it
fires of hell
inside.
glowing?
You gotta feel it, live
Grizzly
it,
Reaper mowing?
breathe, and be prepared to die for it. You gotta make the assault on life itself. That's why some people think I've lost it. I haven't. All I've done is I've held on. It's goodbye. It's goodbye.
You're going to love this. Just love it.
All right, man. So I want to take it back to high school. Funny story about, you were kind of talking about the whole wrestling, backyard wrestling, and you guys jamming out with the metal and stuff. So talk about your wrestling underground career.
My wrestling underground career. Okay, my character, his name was Cholo. I'll leave that up to your imagination what I came out dressed in, but I was literally a Cholo. So we would come out, I came out to nothing but a G-Bang. That was my entrance music. And we would rent these bouncers, like, the little kid bouncers, and use it as our like slamming area to do suplexes or whatnot. And yeah, we were good times. Yeah, we had characters like there was a guy named Ultra Paisa, and he would come out to like dan 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 dan, and he had his little friend. It was a soccer ball with this like little Cantinflas mustache and a beanie on, and that was like his manager. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Yeah, we had like crazy people, and we had crazy turnouts. We did this all in the city of La Puente, and I think this was a Saturday, and like everyone heard about it. We talked about it on Friday. We didn't even make flyers or anything, and people just showed up. And yeah, my friend Javi's house was like packed, like up the wazoo, with people just looking. And so like we really had to turn it on for that first event, and we were just like slamming each other through tables, and there was just attacks on the tables, some of it set on fire. We slammed this wrestler. His name was, I forgot his wrestling name, but his name was Iman. We suplexed him onto a table that was lit on fire, and he actually caught fire. His clothes caught fire, and I was trying to chase him with a bucket, and he was running away from me with the bucket. Like he was more afraid of the water than the fire that was on him. And he's like, ah! Yeah, and he just took his shirt off. It was crazy, but yeah, we were just stupid. Doing backflips off the roofs of the house, and he had a lemon tree that I kind of tore up, and I put it in his eye, and the camera's all on me, and I'm like, lemon in your eyes, and he goes, Mars! Oh my god, mooning all day, mooning each other, just being stupid, but best days of our lives.
Man, to be young, man, to be young.